So you weren't around in the last video, or maybe the last 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So you might not have been around to hear about this, but no, I don't think you might not have heard about this. So this is a video released by the Pentagon. Now, this is an aircraft engaging an object that is unidentified and has no idea what the object is. Now, these videos were released, and I was showing these videos because there were multiple videos. That's a little loud. There are multiple videos like this. 3 in particular that we're talking about. The Pentagon has come out and said, these videos are real and unexplained. They say we have no idea what these things are. Outright confirming what pilots, like this gentleman, Fravor, has been willing to tell the public. Meaning him coming out, telling the public exactly what he saw has just been co-signed by the Pentagon. And not just that, they said these videos weren't even supposed to be released to the public. Now that part I don't buy. I think that part is there to add a certain degree of, and I don't know if this is a flat fact, but let me say it this way.
Speculation.
If the videos, if they're being honest, but it's the Pentagon, yeah, they're probably not being honest. But if they're being honest and the videos have been released and they weren't intended for release, fair enough. If they're not being honest and they wanted these videos out for some kind of political reason, a political motive, it adds a certain degree of correctness to it if you turn around and say we didn't expect these videos to be out. Does it make sense? Yeah. It's like, oh, we didn't expect that.
No,
I
know that they did that. I didn't watch that actual video, but I did know that they came out and made that statement.
Yes.
Okay.
3 videos from the Pentagon, all showing our pilots engaging stuff that we have no idea what it is and has capabilities well beyond what our crafts can do. And listen to Fravor. Fravor was on Tucker Carlson. This guy, upstanding pilot, been in the military for like 20 years. If I'm not mistaken, he was one of those pilots that was flying on 9/11. And he comes out and he says this. And keep in mind, Pentagon has confirmed that these videos are legit.
On tonight, tell us what you saw.
Well, we had launched on a routine training mission. When we joined up, we were told that the event was going to be canceled and that we have real-world tasking, and we were sent out to the west. Now, take in mind that this has taken place about 100 miles southwest of San Diego, between San Diego and Ensenada, Mexico, on a clear, perfect day, blue waters. We get out to the spot where they tell us it's at. We start looking around, and both airplanes see a disturbance in the water and a white 40-foot long tic-tac shaped object just hovering above the water, going forward.
Just so we're clear, this is not, there's a document that was put on some kind of website that the guy got out of a vault that he got from somebody just before the guy croaked. That was a testimony. None of that. This is, the Pentagon comes out and says, these videos are legit. We don't know what they are. Aerial phenomena. They're seeing something. Our pilots are engaging. New York Times, Washington Post, Political, all of these run stories on this very particular point. What this guy's saying here is legit. I saw something hovering over the water and it was doing things that our craft couldn't do. Right. And from his standpoint, it is a piece of technology that he was watching, at least from his vantage point. Luis Elizondo, the gentleman that was working for the Black Budget Project that started all of this, comes out on CNN and says, yeah, I think we're being visited. He says, this is not based on my opinion. This is based on the evidentiary research that I went about in regards to this particular program. So you have several people who were part of the military and part of these Black Budget programs coming out saying, yes, I was there. I watched it. It was my aircraft that was flying in formation. And by the way, there's another pilot also. The other pilot that was with him also comes out and gives his testimony about this, corroborates exactly what he's saying. The Nimitz or the Roosevelt, pick your craft, pick your boat. But the pilots and the people on these boats can corroborate the story. This is not a document somewhere. This is the U.S. government confirming. This is a branch of your military confirming that this is real. Now, the moment that shit took place, all sorts of things should have been like, whoa, what does this mean? Because based on what they're saying, there's something out there that is visiting us. And I keep saying it's either us or it's not. Now, the military is saying it's not us, which has certain implications to it. If it is indeed us, and the military is using this as a smokescreen in order to get kind of more more money and research and that type of stuff. Yeah. But that still means there's a parallel tract of technology that is taking place from the standpoint of us. Meaning, either some of the physics that we thought were impossible, either we solved it or somebody else solved it. It can't be anything between those two things. It's one or the other. If it is something between those two things, it would mean that there's a lot of people who are lying in this process. And I don't quite buy that. I mean, you're talking about a lot of pilots that have been seeing things, not just one or two, and not just in the United States. I can show you video where British pilots are saying something similar, where they were called out for a mission. They went out, they saw something flying in the air. They had no idea what it was. It was doing capabilities that was beyond their craft. Same thing. Skeptics. Where are they? Now, for years, the UFO community has been saying, this is real. This is real. Yeah, and they were treated like crap. They was like, oh, they're crazy. They're conspiracy theorists. But think about what we're saying. Earth is a ball hurling through space. That's all it is. Whatever you do in your daily life, whatever opinions and belief systems and cultural traditions, all that stuff, not entirely real. What is real is Earth is a ball hurling through space. And we are flying at remarkable speeds. And in the same way we go to our celestial neighbors with the most rudimentary of technology, why wouldn't we believe that some other civilization might have started in a different way? They might have had different
and be
access.
More advanced in doing so.
Or even started with different materials. Like, we're assuming that everybody started off with even the same materials, where they would, where their technological progress would be different, or progression may be different than our own. There's all sorts of stuff that is possible. And so when I see this pilot, who, by the way, gets nothing out of this. He's coming forward against, typical cultural traditions in order to say this stuff. Listen to him.
Forward, back, left, right. There's no rotor wash. There's no wings, nothing. So as we drive around in a clockwise flow, we get to about the 9 o'clock position, and I said, well, I'm going to go down and check it out, and the other jet is going to stay high. So as we go down, when we get to the 12 o'clock position, it starts to mirror us. So it's in a clockwise flow, and it's on the opposite side of the circle from us. And we continue this. It's in a climb. We're in a descent. We're getting a great look at it. This whole thing takes about probably up to 5 minutes from the time we show up. I get over to the 8 o'clock position. It's at about the 2 o'clock position, and I decide I'm going to go and see what it is, and it's about 2,000 feet below me. And I cut across the circle, and as I get within about a half mile of it, it rapidly accelerates to the south in about 2 seconds and disappears.
What would you...
Now, his point in this was there is no person that could have been in that vehicle in order to do that. And whether or not it was a drone, whether or not it was a person in that vehicle and they were using physics that was just kind of different than our own, we can't make entire assumptions on this, because it very well could have been using the physics that didn't necessarily have propulsion in the way that we would do propulsion. And he had already said there was no water wash. There was nothing that we would have in our particular airplanes or ships that would give this notion that it was one of ours. I mean, we don't have technology where something can just float without any, usually we're throwing something out of something, like in order to get propulsion. Like,
right.
Like if I was sitting in a chair and I threw a bowling ball.
Right?
Well, in that case, yes. I mean, from the way we understand it. But suppose for the moment it wasn't doing that. And his point is, it wasn't doing that. He wasn't, like, if that thing was hovering over the water, how was it just hovering over the water? There was no water wash. There was nothing under it to show that the water is being pushed back like a helicopter or something. That's his point. He's like, that thing was using some level of propulsion that we have no idea what it was, and that our craft just don't use. That's why he kept saying, this is not us. This looks entirely foreign.
Right.
Whether it's a drone or not, who knows? And what does it matter? He's talking about something that was under intelligent control. He's saying it was mirroring his actions, meaning as he went around, it was doing the same thing to show that it was under some level of intelligent control. Again, whether it was a drone or not is irrelevant. It is doing something that our pilots don't have the capability of doing, and that we don't know, supposedly, what it is. Oh, this is awesome! You have no idea how awesome this is. Like, I think people sometimes miss this. Your government that has told you that this didn't exist, that this was insane. Like,
why isn't everybody
right? And understand
like you are.
Well, we are a ball hurling through space. That is real. And you have life that grows even in volcanic pits. Life grows everywhere. It would be weird. Like, it would literally be a definition to some degree where you would have to invoke God to believe that something else is not out there. Now, the question was always, can they get here? And my argument is, why do you believe they can't? Why do you believe they can't? I mean,
wait, I'm hearing that they can't hear me.
Oh, my bad. You might not be projecting your voice enough.
Well, I feel like we're speaking at the same volume, but for whatever reason, I am not being heard as well. I think it's because of how it's turned. Because typically it's a one-man show.
Yeah.
I'm just a little measly add-on for a couple of hours.
But I guess my point is, my basic point, and I'm not going to belabor it, is that for all the skeptics, suck it. Ultimately, the U.S. military has just confirmed that they are engaging something that they have no idea what it is. And this brings back the Bob Lazar stuff. All this stuff starts coming back into the woodwork. Look, I don't entirely take it that this is not us. I don't jump to the conclusion. I used to. I don't do it now. It is possible that it is us, or it's possible that it's not. I would argue that either one of those eventualities are mind-blowing. And when these pilots are putting out there, especially if the news media takes the stuff at face value, we have company. We have company.
Dun, dun, dun.
I am the person out there with the shirt on called Space Brother written across his chest, holding the sign up saying, "Welcome to Earth! Welcome to fucking Earth! Welcome to Earth!" Now, the catch is, do I entirely put it past the goal of this being to get contract dollars or more dollars? Meaning right now we're spending like $1 trillion on the military in order to hunt people down in caves.
If there's aliens, then we need even more money.
Yes.
Right?
Well, yes. And beyond that point, it even gets dicier than that. It's very possible that this video is entirely legit. And simultaneously, they are leaking this stuff now in order to get more money. Both can be true.
Well, somebody said it was an old video. These are,
Both can be true. Like, it's not one or the other. It can be literally both. It could be a situation where we have advanced technology and we're being visited. This gets really weird in the permutations that could be taking place. This is an exciting time to be alive, honestly, and to some degree should be terrifying. It's very possible that the reason why this stuff is being released now is because they want expenditures. They want dollars. This notion of holding off recessions and everything else. If we have something that's in our skies, we need to know what that is, right? I mean, maybe we need to build platforms in space that kind of hover over the planet in order to give us some kind of level of protection. And I know some people are like, what's the big deal? The thing is, people can be cowed into fear very easily.
Yeah.
And especially for something like this where you have no idea what it is, you have no idea how truthful they are being with you about it. All of this is a black box of sorts. Yeah, all of this is a black box. And so now you have this situation where the military is coming out saying, yes, those videos are real. And we don't know what those things are. You have Congress asking military, saying, look, you need to explain to us what this is, because this will mean all sorts of new physics and everything else. What do you know of this?
And they're saying what?
And we're potentially getting congressional hearings on this very specific issue. Like, this is mind-blowing. When the military had to come out and own up to it and say, yeah, we're changing our policies. Well, implicit in changing your policies is you're changing them for real things. So the military coming out, this shouldn't have been too mind-blowing.
Right.
But it is. It is. So I am enamored by this story. I've done this story kind of once before, but you weren't here the last time. What do you think of the story? You and I, my wife and I, have had 2 UFO encounters. But she's only been aware of maybe one, and even then kind of out of it. And that one, we are at our apartment complex. We are walking to the car in the mornings because we were driving together. Something buzzes by. Small. It didn't look massive, maybe the size of a car, but it was round. And it jets by. And I said, babe, did you see it? You said, I think so.
I have no memory of this.
Are you serious? We're walking out. We're at the apartment complex over near where the pizzeria is. We're walking out to the car. Something zooms by. It's near the train tracks. It goes by extremely fast. And I said, babe, did you see that? I was like, babe, did you see that? You said, I think so. And I was like, it looked kind of X-shaped. And he was like, maybe. I think I saw something. But it went back too fast. You don't remember that at all? That's what I mean, man. Like, in both encounters.
I didn't think that's the instance that you were going to bring up.
Well, the second one was Egypt. Where we're in Egypt. We're riding in the car. I'm looking at the star because I like to watch the sky. And I'm staring at a star. And I often do this thing of, like, if there's something there, if there's something in my thoughts, it's just something I used to do even when I was a kid. If I'm alone and if I'm not alone in this room, flicker the light, those type of things, it freaks her out. Sometimes that shit works. But that particular day, I'm looking at one of the stars and the thing blows up and go.
And I was there for this one too.
But it went behind. I was like, babe. But you remember that part.
The way he just screamed, that's the same way. We were in the back of an Uber, I think, in Egypt. And I saw the light, but I did not see
it blow up
change.
Like that. Yeah.
I just saw a light, and then I was like, okay, and I started looking at something else. And
I'm like, babe, and then we go behind the building in the car, and I'm like, motherfucker,
like something happened
because that's the second time. It's like every time, it never fails. Like we were in Virginia Beach one time. No, we were in North Carolina, Outer Banks. We were in Outer Banks.
We were.
All of us are walking. It's kind of like this area that's almost like it's kind of like an island, but it's not entirely an island. But you're right by the beach, and you're kind of isolated.
Like
we're
a
just
little peninsula.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Out there, and it was late at night.
Pitch black.
You, me, my brother, and my niece.
You could see a row full of stars because there was nothing like no like pollution.
And Jamal kept saying, "Did you see that? Did you see that?"
And
they were
like
stars. 4 of us out there, and we were like, "We don't."
Well, they weren't looking up at the sky. They were shooting stars.
Anything.
So they kept being this thing where they were shooting stars, and I kept thinking, I was like, is there some kind of anomaly? Like there were over and over again, and then her and her brother and I are sitting on the top patio. I think we're getting stoned or something, and we're just kind of looking out at the sky.
That's not true.
And I'm like, look at that. I was like, there's another one. I was like, and I realized none of you were looking up at the sky. None of you. Even after I said, oh wow, look at that. Nobody.
We were like, oh, because you said like it was a shooting star or something, and so we were like, oh, that's cool, and then we kept doing whatever we were doing.
I feel some kind of way that for whatever reason, you don't remember.
I have no memory of the first one at all.
That's amazing. I can't believe you don't have any memory of that. It hurts me.
I have heard that someone said elevate your consciousness and you'll be able to contact them. I have heard that if you are not trying to see them, or you can kind of like, I don't want to say think at them, but
like not think at them, like this thing of
there's a difference between you walking down, like if 2 of us are walking down the street and you are like, I want to see an alien spacecraft, and you're looking up and you say, okay,
I see.
You know what I mean? Like thinking at it kind of.
But I wasn't thinking.
I'm just kind of like walking, like maybe you're more open, and so that's why
I know in North Carolina
you get to see these things when the rest of us are like,
Well, in North Carolina, I wasn't thinking at anything. It was just kind of stuff shooting by. In Egypt, that was just random. I mean, like, you were just in a car with me. You said yourself that you saw the light on that point. So, at the very least, you saw something.
I did,
even if you didn't see the flip. So, it's not like you weren't there for those occasions. You were there for all of those occasions.
I guess that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that you are able to see things. Maybe you're hallucinating.
I don't think so. Because you said yourself. I mean, my issue is...
Maybe you're hallucinating.
She doesn't remember this now.
You want it to happen.
No, she doesn't remember this now. But the first time it happened, she looked at, she was like, all right, I think I saw something. I just don't know what it was. Now, either both of us was hallucinating, or you were just being massively, easily influenced by somebody saying, hey, did you see that thing? And you just, for whatever reason, lied about it. That would also mean you were just kind of just making shit up in Egypt. And as for North Carolina, the North Carolina thing, we're just kind of walking around and shit was just flying out the sky. I don't know, man. I find this to be fascinating. I mean, it really is. And I don't quite understand why.
People have a swear jar, and every time they swear, they have to put money in. You should have a fascinating jar.
I don't understand why this story isn't more profound.
Now, I do agree. Your certain level of enthusiasm kind of deadens me to enthusiastic events. So, like, if all the time everything is fascinating and you're, like, really, really, like, oh, that's awesome, then things, when they happen like this, it's like, oh, okay, yeah.
But what does that have to do with you? Like, I understand me. They may deaden my perspective of what is fascinating based on whatever
Because you're like,
oh,
this is fascinating. And I'm like, well, the last 25 things were fascinating, too. And so...
Fascinating to me.
I know that, but it kind of, like, projects onto like my level of.
So
I guess my thing is that I do think this is like a monumental thing.
So
I know why I am not like bouncing off the walls about it, because it's a conversation that you and I have all the time. But if I was Joe Schmo and saw this on TV where they're saying, okay, yes, this is legitimate, then I would have some questions at least.
I just think it's profound. I mean, your government has just come out and confirmed to you that our skies have something in it that we don't know what it is.
See, lithium-19, perfect, says if everything is fascinating, then nothing is.
There are levels. There are levels. I don't think paper is fascinating. I mean, doesn't one disprove the absolute of it all? Clearly, if I don't think paper is fascinating, I don't think the mouse pad is fascinating. I don't even think my notebook is all that fascinating. Maybe something to do with the process of making it, but the moment that you get rid of one thing that's not fascinating, that kind of destroys this whole notion that everything is fascinating. Look, I would argue that there are certain levels of subjectivity associated with what is fascinating or not.
Right.
And this notion that everything's fascinating is being a little bit coy and easy with the wording and hyperbolic. Let me say it that way. The notion of talking about anything else and then adding in UFOs, the profundity goes out through the roof. And even if there was something else that was fascinating, the levels, clearly there's a difference between the level of fascination in one thing versus
Another.
aliens. Not even just another, just aliens. Because that's fundamentally transforms our society. If scientists came out and said, you know what? This is a real thing. And they said, if it's real, how are they here? That right there. Like, think about what that means. If scientists of your planet say, all right, they're saying this is real. Okay, how do they get here? Have they been here all along? I mean, he's saying he's seeing some structure in the water. Like, all sorts of, oh, God, this is so...
Sounds like every alien movie that I've seen when they're like, well, you know, they've been here for a long time and now they're just revealing themselves or something.
Or tech has gotten to the point where we can see it. I don't know, man. I think this is profound, personally. And whatever you want to think, your government has just come out and confirmed the existence of something in our space that we have no idea what it is.
All right.
So.
It's
Absolutely profound.